So we should be able to take that that 90 thousandths number that we get from all of that. Get my finger out of the viewfinder there. We should be able to find center of our gear blank, which was 307, should be 153 and a half. Center up our tool, deduct out the center of the 315, move over that distance. I'd put this edge on center, and then move over 45 thousandths. That should put us in the right position to go in and plunge that cut. Should be 173 thousandths deep, and that shouldn't put too terribly big of a load on the tool and on the machine. That we should be able to cut that fairly clean. So what we've got, I've got the a piece of 1/2" drill rod chucked up in the lathe, and I've faced the end of it off. So we're going to go over and turn it down to 315 diameter, and then I've got a radius cutter that I'll set, and this thing takes a while to set this up, the radius cutter, to cut a 315 diameter. So it'd be a 152 and a half radius to come up with that, or 157 and a half, excuse me, radius to turn the end of that tool around, and then we'll put it in the mill, and we'll just mill it right across that part right there, mill it exactly in half, and that should give us a form tool that is going to look like this. It's not a very round circle, but you get the picture. So we should have clearance and relief because we're just exactly in half, so everything should be flowing away from that cutting edge. Then we'll set that up in. We'll make our initial cuts on the drill rod we're going to actually make the cutter out of, and proceed to cut those radiuses and cut that form on the cutter. So let's truck over to the lathe. Walking across the extension cords through the messy shop. Over here to the lathe, and there we've got our drill rod chucked up. And that is hanging out a long ways. I understand that, but it's got to be out at least that far from my radius cutter. And I don't want to re-grab it, because once I turn it, I've just got a 3-jaw chuck on this big lathe. This is an old Rockford economy lathe. It's a 17 by 72. Pretty good bed on this thing. And the 4-jaw chuck is right down there on the floor under the faceplate. And that thing's a 12-inch diameter 4-jaw chuck, and I don't have the strength to lift that up and mount it on this thing. So we're just doing everything in the 3-jaw, and once I grab something, if I want concentricity, I'll try and do it so I can do every step to it and not, pull it out of the chuck and move it around. So anyhow, we got to cut that down to 315 diameter here, and back probably a little over 1/2 inch, maybe 1/2 to 9/16 of an inch or so. Just put the lathe on. touched. And we're at 72 thousandths. We're back out. So back to 72 thousandths. We'll shut that off. I'm going to set this down for just a second and zero my knob out. The cross feed here. So 500 thousandths, that's half-inch drill rod, to 315 is 85 to 400, and 100. So 185 thousandths, divide that by 2 is 92 and a half. So once we get down around 85, we'll start measuring, but we'll go ahead and take about a 20 thousandths cut here. Probably long enough. Another 20. Another cut. Okay, so we just went 40 on the handle, it's taking 80, and we need to go 185, so let's go 15 this time. We'll start getting a little narrower. I'll take a little lighter cut, just to keep from pushing letting the metal push out of the way. Okay, so that was our last cut at 55. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and turn this down to 315. I'm going to need both hands to use a mic and measure this thing anyway, so and rather than bore you with all of that, we'll go ahead and pause this and get it turned down to the dimension we need and pick it back up there.